This meeting is being recorded, just so everyone is aware of that. I'll first read the accessibility and Title VI non-discrimination statements. This meeting is accessible to people with disabilities. Microphones or telephones will be used by all speakers. Large print materials are available upon advance request. If you would like either of these accommodations, please contact Mary Waldron at 508-583-1833. The Notice of Non-Discrimination Rights and Protections to Beneficiaries with regard to the federal Title VI non-discrimination protections and the state non-discrimination protections is posted in this meeting room and is available on the Old Colony Planning Council website. Please contact Mary Waldron at 508-583-1833 for more information. Thank you. Okay, with that, we'll start the meeting with a roll call that Mary Waldron, our Executive Director, will do for us.
Great, thank you. So what the way that we'll be calling the roll, for those that are new, we'll be calling your town. So if you announce yourself as the delegate or alternate. So Abington.
Delegate present.
Avon. Oh, John, you're muted. There we go.
Sorry.
Thank you. Bridgewater.
Delegate present.
Sorry.
Thank you, Bob. Welcome. Brockton.
Alternate.
Duxbury. East Bridgewater.
Alternate present.
Thank you. Easton.
Delegate.
Halifax. Hanover. I know Rhonda's coming. She texts to say she's coming. Hanson.
Present. Delegate.
Thank you, Tony. Kingston.
Delegate present.
Thank you. I just wanted, there's a couple people in the waiting room. Pembroke.
Present.
Thank you.
Delegate.
Plymouth. Plimpton.
Present. Delegate.
Thank you. Stoughton.
Bill Roth here.
Thank you, Bill. West Bridgewater.
Delegate present.
Thank you. Whitman.
Delegate present. Alternate present.
And we know at large, Yolanda had sent his regards. I do know that since we did roll call, just a note that Frank Staffier has joined us. And Valerie Massard, I think we got you, Val. I'm not sure if we missed you or not.
You got me.
Thank you. And just for staff, I'll start with Charlie, and if the staff who are on, please introduce yourself.
Charles Kilmer.
Thank you, Charlie. Lori.
Lori Muncy.
Great. David.
David Klein.
Sean.
Sean Noel.
Lila.
Lila Burgess.
Joanne.
Joanne Sigmund.
Thank you. And Nick Giaquinto. I think that's, oh no, I've got one more. Nick.
Yep, Nick Giaquinto.
And Rhiannon.
Rhiannon Dugan.
Thank you, Rhiannon.
And Brenda and Megan.
Oh, Brenda, I'm sorry, Brenda and Megan, sorry, thank you. There is someone who has joined us by way of iPad. I'm just not sure who you are. If you can just unmute yourself and just identify for us.
I'm on an iPad, but I think I show up, right?
You're okay now that I know that, so we're good.
No, that's Bill Roth.
Oh, Bill
Perfect.
Roth.
I'll rename him.
Thank you very much. So, Madam President, we do have a quorum.
Okay, great. Before we get into the agenda, I'd like to take one item out of order. We have with us tonight Lila Burgess, who is celebrating her 25th anniversary with OCPC.
He's trying to get on.
I'm hello, do you have me?
We have you. We have you, Frank. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I just having trouble.
It's
You're
the
good,
way of the
let me know.
world. I was just saying that we are celebrating the 25th anniversary of Lila Burgess working with Old Colony Planning Council. And Lila, Lila, I'm not sure if you've done other work over the years, but right now she runs our ombudsman program, which is very important to keeping people safe and helping to provide a place for people to go to when there are issues with long-term care facilities, I believe, right, Lila?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to just describe a little bit about your career, or if Mary, you want to give a little intro as we recognize Lila with, I think you have something there for her. It's hard to see.
We do. Thank you very much, Becky. And Lila, thank you for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
Spend all these times working, still working while we're still meeting. But again, I'm going to actually look to Megan. Do we have a little video that we're going to share first?
Oh, great.
Oh, my other children.
Past a gray-haired man and I found his eyes. It's like he knew my thoughts and he read my mind, saying life is gonna find you.
That's old, Charlie.
Felt my feet stop short and I turned my head, tried to lean into every word he said. Then he said, when you are younger, you wish you're older. Then when you're older, you wish for time to turn around. Don't let your wonder turn into closure. When you get older, when you get older. Right before their prime, have I been put down one too many times? Have I said it all the way I really meant to? If I wait till my tomorrow comes, is the way all lives ever done? And will I get to know myself in the dark? And will I get to know myself in the place I am, get to fall in love with another man, and understand when you are younger, you wish you're older. Then when you're older, you wish for time to turn.
That was sweet. Very nice. That was very sweet.
So our organization, our other person who has been here for over 25 years has been our deputy director, Charlie. And I think that's a testimony to this board. That's a testimony to the work that is done by Old Colony Planning Council. We hope that we continue to provide that kind of work environment. Lila, we learn so much from you. But on behalf of all of us, we have a little something extra that we'd like to give you. Some more flowers.
Some more flowers.
These were here earlier today because I would have forgotten. And I need my glasses to say this, but it says, this is on behalf of the council. If someone could let.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Rhonda in, thank you. So Old Colony
she's joining.
Thank you. Old Colony Planning Council presented to Lila Burgess, Director, Ombudsman Director, celebrating 25 years of leadership, service, and commitment to Old Colony Planning Council from the year September 8th, 1998 to September 8th to 2023. With sincere gratitude, appreciation, the Old Colony Planning Council delegates and staff. Congratulations.
Lovely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, on behalf of all of you, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. I would say, with the exception of last July, I had probably about a week where I was like, I did not want to come to work. And I couldn't figure out whether my 25 years, whether it was over, whether, you know, the writing was on the wall and it was time for me to walk away. But I come to find out I was actually sick. I was bit by a tick. And not only did I get bit by a tick, but the little tick that I got bit with decided to carry a parasite. So I had babiosis or whatever that is, but I just couldn't figure out why I was dragging. Anyways, it's been a pleasure. And for those of you, I think it was last January that the council, the board, put into effect the 3% longevity. I mean, thank you very much. I mean, that was a nice, I think when I sent a little quick thank you, when someone gave me the acknowledgement that it was going to happen this month, a couple of weeks ago, I said, I think I see a cruise in my future. But anyways, obviously it's been a pleasure, and probably not another 25. But thank you, everyone. This is lovely.
Thank you.
Lovely.
Bigger mantle.
And I think we're here to say, Mary wasn't joking when she said it was going to, Old Colony was gonna celebrate me all month long. It really has been. All month long. It's been delightful. But I mean, I think we've melted enough.
We actually have an office retreat tomorrow that we're gonna celebrate
Yeah.
one more day, but Becky, Madam President, if you would like to just say your words.
Yeah, no, I think that sometimes we forget about all the facets of what Old Colony Planning Council does. And Lila and the group of both staff and volunteers who work in the Ombudsman program do yeoman's work. They go out to the facilities, they can take in issues and just do it with such compassion and grace. I really appreciate the leadership there and the amount of years of experience and knowledge and stewardship that Lila has brought to that program. So I really appreciate it. And if you don't know about our Ombudsman program and you're a delegate on this call, I encourage you to reach out and find out more about it.
Great.
So thank you.
Thank you very much, Becky. And again, the team of volunteers have always made me for 25 years look really, really good. I would not be able to do the work that we do. So thank you, everybody.
So,
Thank
Madam President, so we have two new staff members that have joined us that are really new to us. So now they have something to strive for with achieving 25 years with OCPC.
And has Charlie been here 25 years, or is that coming up soon?
27 years.
27. Oh, so we'll be doing the 30th soon.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah, Lila and I
Okay.
have actually been neighbors in terms of offices for the whole time. So she's been a wonderful, person on the other side of the wall, and just a wonderful person, an inspiration to us all, and not only to us staff, but obviously the residents of the long-term care facilities and their loved ones and family. She's like a beacon of hope and a helping hand when they need it in times of need. And it's not just in the Old Colony region, but across the state. She's held in very high regard by people at the state and people at these upper agencies. It's just well respected and just we're so fortunate to have her at Old Colony and among us to share our time together.
Thank you, Charlie. Kind words. And you've been a pretty good, what do we call it, roommate over on the other side. So cheers.
So, Madam President, of course, thank you for allowing us to put this on the agenda for today, and for having Lila be brought up first, so she doesn't have to stay for the whole meeting if she doesn't need to. But again, thank you for this opportunity to do this and celebrate one of our staff.
And to celebrate the good work that she's done for so long, and that I think a lot of times people don't even know about. So thank you.
Thanks again.
And yes, I did want to move her to the front because it seems like if we're celebrating her, she shouldn't have to work for it. Because now we do have to get into the work of our meeting a little bit. And Mary, do we have new people on as delegates tonight?
We do. So if we could begin with Bob Ruelli?
Would you like me to say something?
Yes, that would be great.
Hello, everyone. I'm Bob Rulli. I am the Director of Community and Economic Development for the town of Bridgewater. And I'm delighted to lessen Sandra's load a little bit in terms of stepping in when all the many hats that she wears, and had many times had opportunities to talk about Mary and Charlie and working with OCPC, and happy to be here.
And Bridgewater is on the move with all the work that you're doing. So
Yeah.
the other new stuff, the other new delegate is Bill Roth from the town of Stoughton. So Bill?
Hi, I'm Bill Roth. I'm the town planner in Stoughton. I have
Sure.
been a planner in the region for, I was planning and economic development director in Fairhaven for 17 years, a couple years in Fall River, and then I was economic development director in Taunton. And I understand regional planning because I was a commissioner for SERPED for the better part of the 22 years that I served in all three of the communities. So I'm looking forward to OCPC.
Great. It sounds like we can call upon you for some information there, Bill, especially as we hear more about the rail, the new rail that's going in. It'll bring some changes to our region. So it's exciting times. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So just as we get to know each other, and I will put in a plug for our upcoming, Mary, help me out. I can't think of the name.
The summit?
The summit.
Mhm.
Our coming summit in December, which is a chance for us to see each other in person. It'll be in East Bridgewater at the Miraval Ballroom in East Bridgewater on December 7th from 5:30 to 8:30. And that's a good opportunity to see a presentation about some of the programs that OCPC has going on, to hear from some of the people. We spotlight some of our partners, and it's a good chance to see each other in person. So I hope everyone has that on their calendar. And with that, I will get back to our regular agenda. And the first thing on the agenda tonight is the consent agenda. So we have the June 2023 meeting minutes, the environmental notices for the summer, the June financials and the July financials. And because we didn't meet over the summer, we're asking that if people had a chance to review those via email and sort of catch up with where we are, if we could take them all as one action item before we get into the more detailed review of our current financials. So if anyone would make a motion to accept the items on the consent agenda.
Becky, I'll make a motion that we accept the items on the consent agenda. Christine.
Second the motion.
Thank you, Christine and Frank. So with that, Mary, could we do a roll call?
Yes. Abington.
Abstain. I was not at the meeting.
Thank you. Avon.
Accept.
Bridgewater.
I will abstain. I wasn't at the meeting.
Brockton.
Accept.
Duxbury, not here. East Bridgewater.
Abstain. Wasn't present.
Easton.
Steph.
Halifax is not here. Hanover.
Abstain.
Hanson. Kingston.
Accept.
Pembroke.
Except,
Plymouth is not here. Plimpton.
Accept.
Stoughton.
I was not there, so I'll have to abstain.
Thank you. West Bridgewater.
Yeah.
Whitman.
Yeah.
And then at large,
I'll abstain. Dan Salvucci, I wasn't there.
right. Noreen, you were there though, I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. And there was, and Yolanda's not here. So that is a unanimous with those that abstained.
okay, thank you. So next on the agenda, we have Brenda Robinson, our fiscal officer, to talk about the FY23 end of the year profit and loss report.
Okay, we overall had a very good year. At FY23 closing, we showed a total income at $2,668,910, while we showed total expenses at $2,324,027. This gave us a total surplus of $344,883. And that's really about it. And Becky, did you want me to say a little something about that? The money that was left over in response to your question last night?
If you have something to add on that now, we can, or we can take it up later.
Okay, we can take it up later. We can talk about it later.
So that was just a report. We don't really have to take an action item on that. It was just to let us know that when we started the new year on July 1st, we started off in a good position. Brenda does an excellent job of guiding us towards budgets that work, that kind of can grow as our grants grow, and as we bring more money into the facility and we into the organization and we grow our staff. We have had a good record since I've been here of knowing where we are at all times, as we'll see as we get into the August financials, and of not not bringing in too many people. We manage our money well. And I think this is a good point to talk about transparency and accountability. And this is an organization that, for those who are newer or who haven't been around as long, we really take transparency and accountability very seriously. We go through the financials in detail every month with both the Finance Committee and the full Council of Delegates. And if anybody has any questions or sees something that doesn't make sense, you're always welcome in the meetings or after the meetings to reach out to any of us. And I didn't expect that, to reach out to any of us and have those questions answered. Brockton had a recent difficulty, and it's important to always make sure that we're accountable, responsible, and transparent, that people can see exactly what's going on, so that we are never caught by surprise as delegates to this organization. So I appreciate that from Mary Waldron and from Brenda Robinson and Charles Kilmer and Sean Noel and everyone there at the organization.
Thank you, Madam President.
And with that, unless you want to add something to that, Mary?
No, thank you.
Okay, then we'll go into the August 2023 financials with Brenda Robinson walking us through where we are today.
Okay. At the end of August, we were in good financial condition, showing a 3.85% budget surplus. The statement of expenditures report shows total expenses for the month of $216,548.82. Our cash position report shows income for the month at $292,830.77. Disbursements for the month were $396,948.66. The total cash available at month's end was $2,077,649.40. Our OPEB account had a loss of $8,174.10, bringing the ending balance in the OPEB account to $1,012,687.78. Our budget resources report, receipts being $292,830.77, brings the total year-to-date receipts to $774,251.25. The AAA report. Outstanding balance for AAA pass-through programs was $1,096,783.03. The outstanding balance for AAA admin and ombudsman programs was $155,472.44. This brings the total outstanding balance for all AAA programs to $1,252,255.47. The voluntary transportation account beginning balance was $171,700. $73.73. Restricted funds payments to volunteers were a total of $1,574.17. Donations received were a total of $399.16, bringing the ending balance in the fund to $169,898.72. ROM statement and activity. Balance at the beginning of the month was $177,581.42. Receipts were $8,350, bringing the total receipts to $16,700. Expenses were $10,182.70, bringing the total expenses to $21,819.65. The ending statement balance was $169,429.12. Moving on to the budget report through the end of August. Page 1 shows total expenditures were $387,153. The spent to date percentage rate at the end of August was 12.82%. The ideal percentage in the second month of the fiscal year would be 16.67%. So at month's end, we had a 3.85% surplus. Page 2. We are off to a good start with projected income for FY24, and there are more grants in the works. Page 3. Overall, the AAA pass-through funds have increased by $90,000 at the start of our FY24. And lastly is the list of combined accounts payable and cash transfers that occurred in the month of August. And that's the end of the financial report for August.
Does anybody have any questions for Brenda about the report? And if there are none, does anyone have a motion to accept the report?
I will make a motion to accept the report.
Thank you, Stephen. Was that Sandra?
Yes.
Thank you, Sandra.
Roll-
Roll call, please.
Yes, Abington,
Accept.
Avon,
Accept.
Bridgewater,
Accept.
Brockton,
Accept.
East Bridgewater,
Accept.
Easton,
Accept.
Hanover,
Accept.
Hanson, Kingston,
Accept.
Pembroke,
Accept.
Newton,
Accept.
Stoughton,
Accept.
West Bridgewater, Whitman.
Accept.
That is
Alternate
unanimous.
accepts.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, thank you all. Mary, are you doing the staff
am.
report?
I
OCPC
am going to do the staff report, and one of the things that as we're when you're off a couple months and you're out of the kind of the status quo, one of the things that we typically will do for new council members is to do an onboarding. Haven't done that yet, but we'll send an email out if there are new board members that would just like to kind of go through kind of a typical, so we'll schedule onboarding for some new members. And again, as President Coletta had mentioned, all members are invited to the finance meetings for that transparency. So this is in your packet, but the administration, we have 3 new staff members. Nick Giaquinto is on, along with Rhiannon Dugan. Bill Napolitano, some of you have also known that Bill very much in his work with the water studies as well as sustainability. So we're still actively seeking a principal transportation planner. Charlie and I are going to be meeting with somebody this coming week. We're still actively pursuing that. And we're actually on the assistant. It's only a 4.5 plus a couple extra hours. So we're still kind of growing, but we're growing slowly and logically, if you will. And I'm not going to redo about with Lila Burgess, but I do want to be able to say that the state also provided Lila, Secretary Elizabeth Chen delivered the citation in Lila's honor. So that's wonderful from the state. Not only are we recognizing, but the state. I'm going to go right to I'm gonna go across the board to AAA just because it'll be easier to work down. The notice of grant awards for Title III Older Americans Act are in process. As you can read that, they're typically uses more than 60% of all the funding, serving 23 communities. Remember, the AAA has our 17 plus the additional, which is south of us as well as north of us. And again, David Klein, who's within the office today, is here. So they are actively moving forward on that. I'm going to go right to the comprehensive planning underneath that, the EDA funding, supporting Old Colony region, sustainable, economically resilient public water supply regional plan. We're going to have a short presentation from Joanne on that, so I'm going to skip right over that. And then the transportation, again, there's a whole huge staff report that gets into some real details about that, but these are the highlights. The transportation, the human services transportation plan, Bill, Sean Bailey, along with Charlie Kilmer, have been really working hard on these plans. The long range transportation plan with Bill McNulty, again with Charlie Kilmer at the helm, and the cartograph operations management software. That is a tool that the transportation department has. The staff are I went out on a visit with Ray Garino, and it's a system that really engages the conditions of the roads. Interesting process. It's done by iPads. You enter the data. Very cool tools that are being updated and being utilized by this organization. I do want to be able to, it has the official public release has not been out there yet. And I know John Haynes, the DPW commissioner for the town of East Bridgewater, I must tell you, this is probably like the exciting part about bringing someone like a Don Sullivan in. A $3 million EDA East Bridgewater sewer line extension. It is happening, and we'll be having folks be invited to that press conference and press release. We have not seen that kind of an award to this region in a very long time, and it's a direct result of bringing someone like a Don Sullivan on board. So Don, and along with Nick Giaquinto, who's coming on, they've been working hard. So it really is exciting. And then the GIS mapping and website. If we can go to our website, I don't know if we can do this, Megan, without really messing two things up, but while Megan brings that up, it is on our website. We have a new tool, and it's still in the early processes, but keep going down. There we go, the data portal. Thank you. So you'll see all of our communities. It's a data dashboard. A lot of our other regional planning agencies have this, but the more data we're putting in, you can see right by population, by age, you can see by the community itself, all the different wonderful things. So if you can see on the bottom, there's a software called Tableau. Lori Muncie and then Andrew Vidal, along with both Elise and Megan, have been working on our website to make sure that if a community is looking for some data, we want to be that source for our communities to get that information. So go onto the website, play around with it, look at your community. Again, this is just the beginning of what's yet to come. But the funding for this has come from EDA as well. It was last year, and then it's a part A of a part B of some funding that we're going to be able to provide data and economic development information for our community. So that's the highlight, right? I think that's it. That's the highlight. Please take a look at the staff report. I cannot underscore the work that is being done by our staff. Very much to be proud of. I was going to say, and then Charlie, our partners over at the, I'm not going to go into it, the rest of it though, Megan, but particularly on this picture, our partners with Brockton Area Transit, Mike Lambert, the brick that's there, it's a memory of Charlie's dad. And again, it shows the camaraderie and the collaboration that this organization has with our stakeholders. So thank you. That's it for the staff report.
Thank you, Mary. Do we need a motion to accept the staff report, or is that just informational?
That is just informational.
Okay, thank you. The next item on our agenda is the 2023 Odyssey OPEB report.
Right. And actually, I'm gonna do that presentation for right now. I don't think we're gonna go through the whole report because we
Okay.
went through it with Odyssey. But I think the high level, if we could, Becky and I think Christine, because it was at transportation for the treasurer and the finance meeting, is basically it's a report. It's their independent report about where we are and are looking at our liability. The meeting was recorded. There were questions. I highly recommend to take another look, pull that information out of the packet that we sent. And most likely we're going to be bringing this up at another finance meeting to have continual discussion. So it was, I think, a very verbose conversation. Parker Elmore is the advisor, but he signs off in terms of looking at the increased plan for liability, where we are in comparison to others, and some recommendations in moving forward.
If you want to reach out and read the report, I would say that I felt, that we can certainly talk about things as we put in place our new OPEB trust, and we have people really focused on this, but for the most part, I was fairly reassured that we are about where we need to be at this point. So take a look if you have time or if you have interest. This is just making sure that we can fund our employee benefits in retirement for our retirees in a long-term basis. The next item on our agenda is the water study grant update. Joanne Zigmund, our senior planner, is going to give an update on this economic development grant and other money that we received from the state to look at the water needs to support economic development in our region in the coming years. Joanne, if you want to take it over.
Hello, good evening, everybody. So I'm going to provide a brief overview of where we're at with this project, how it came about, and what we're going to be doing. Following the presentation, if there are any questions, please get in touch directly with Mary or myself or Dawn, and we can tell you with enthusiasm a whole lot more detail about this project, which we hope will be really great for the region. So last year, under the subaward that we received from the Narragansett Bay Estuary Program, we began working on an EDA application for a regional water study. And when Dawn joined the team, we applied to the EDA and were successful in receiving I've got 940 as the total figure, whatever that is divided by 2. Math is not my strong suit. So $940,000 total project cost. Half of that is from the Economic Development Agency. The rest is from our partners. So the Central Plymouth County Water District Commission pitched in $225,000. The Commonwealth, through an earmark led by Senator Brady, contributed $200,000. And the South Shore Chamber of Commerce, through their Economic Development Corporation, contributed $45,000. So this regional project is going to be looking at the entire EDA designated Economic Development District, which is OCPC's service area. So 17 of our communities will be involved. What we hope to do, and we'll scope this out with the consultants once we hire them, is to focus on each community individually as well as more broadly as part of the region. So we'll be contacting, and in fact have already contacted, all the town administrators and DPW commissioners in these communities to let them know that this is happening. And once we hire a consultant, we'll be reaching out again to provide an update, but also get folks involved in a steering committee process. So the purpose of the study, or sort of the outcome of the study, is to improve the region's competitive economic resilience and to produce and to ensure that the production of water resources in our region is sustainable in the long term for our development. So we will be using most of the grant money to hire consultants to undertake what will be quite a lot of technical work, but also a lot of stakeholder engagement and outreach. The RFP was developed in collaboration with municipalities. So all the municipalities were invited to feed into the RFP. We had about 6 or 7 of them participate in a meeting where we talked about the RFP, and they made some suggestions for how it could be changed. And then we incorporated those changes and we put that out about a month ago. Since then, we've received at least a couple of dozen requests for the RFP from consultants, not only well-known in our region and in our state, but actually even national consultants that haven't worked in our area yet. It is a significant budget. The RFP's value is up to $800,000. And it is a pretty innovative and unique study too, because it's a regional water plan, which hasn't really been done before. And what we're asking the consultants to do is look at the current water use in our region and each of our municipalities, which might seem obvious, but some municipalities know a little bit more about how water is used in their municipality than others. So look at that baseline. How is that water used? How much is used by businesses? How much is used during the summer due to irrigation needs, that sort of thing. The second part of it is to look at projections for what water use is likely to be over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Again, some municipalities will have a better understanding of this than others. So the consultant will need to look at a way to compare apples with apples when it comes to both the baseline and projections. And then they need to basically match up the two and look at where the gaps are and how those gaps might be addressed. So we've asked specifically in the RFP for them to look at not only traditional supply side measures like increasing or building new reservoirs, tapping new groundwater sources, that sort of thing, but also to look at managing demand. So looking at opportunities for water conservation, for rate improvements that incentivize smart water use, and also to look at more innovative approaches as well too, which can include things like water reuse or other ideas that are sort of being tested and tried and in fact utilized in other parts of the country as well too. So it's a pretty broad study. As part of the RFP review, we also had additional stakeholders in our region provide comment as well too. So the watershed associations, Chamber of Commerce, other stakeholders. Monday is the deadline. So on Monday, we will be receiving hopefully at least one good solid proposal from a consultant. We expect several more than that. We'll be then scoring those and conducting interviews to make the selection. And we hope that by November 1st, we'll have a signed contract. And again, depending on consultant schedules, but hopefully we'll be able to start the work actually in November as well. It'll run for about 12 months. And then we will be looking to, in the more short and longer term, implement some of the findings from the plan that's developed. We'll have a lot more detail about the engagement process throughout this project once we hire the consultants. That will be a significant part of their work. We'll be doing extensive communication with municipalities, not only as the key beneficiaries really of this project, but also as kind of data holders and the experts that have the insight on how water is being used. We'll also be doing a lot of engagement though with additional stakeholders too, such as the watershed associations, environmental groups, housing advocates and developers, businesses and the chambers of commerce. It's going to be a true regional initiative. And in fact, we'll probably be reaching out beyond our borders a little bit as well too, to understand a bit more about what's happening with the MWRA, for example, at the Weymouth Naval Base. And also, of course, Brockton's desalinization plant is down in Dighton too, so that's a consideration as part of this project. So yeah, more to come. So I should be able to provide another update probably within two or 3 weeks. We should hopefully have, we're hoping about 3 weeks, have a contract signed with a consultant.
And then
we'll go from
Joanne,
there.
also on our website, we're gonna have a page dedicated to this multi-year project as well, so. thank
That's
you for
right.
the update.
Yep. Oh, and I should also mention, we are developing an email list that will specifically send updates about this project. So we'll add all the delegates and alternates to that as well, too.
Great. That's a really great overview. Does anyone have any questions for Joanne? I really appreciate you giving that overview, Joanne, because I think it is a very innovative and important project for our region. People, right now we have a lot of different issues with water over time in our area, but it's also, as we grow, it can be a gating factor. So thank you very much for your work on this.
You're welcome.
Okay, so our next agenda item, if no one has any questions for Joanne, speak now. Then we'll move on to the 50th anniversary of the AAA proclamation, which David Klein will talk to us about tonight.
Thank you, Madam President. Thanks, everyone. It's good to be here with you. So in 1965, the Older Americans Act was signed into law by President Johnson, and every number of years or so they do reauthorizations, and sometimes in the reauthorization process they also do amendments. So in 1973, one of the amendments was the creation of area agencies on aging, which is our federal designation. There's as of 2016, there were about 662 area agencies on aging nationwide of various sizes. And I thought that we would just take a moment and acknowledge that this is the 50th anniversary of the area agency and aging's existence. And so I wrote a brief motion, if somebody would be willing to perhaps read it. It is up on the screen. Thank you very much, Megan. It's right there, kind of in the center.
And you're looking for a council member to make that motion. Is that correct, David?
Yes, Mary, thank you.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Steve.
Stephen, do you want to read it or should I?
Sure. Go ahead.
Stephen, do you want to, or?
Oh no, I thought David was asking you. I'll go ahead I'll go ahead and read it, sorry. I make a motion to acknowledge and celebrate the 50th anniversary of the 1973 Older Americans Act, comprehensive amendments which established the area agencies on aging to help administer OAA funding by serving the older adult population, 60 plus, from their local areas.
I'll second the motion, Madam Chairperson.
Thank you, Frank. Mary, can we have a roll call on this important acknowledgement of a critical resource in our area for older Americans?
It is, and thank you, David, for your work on this. Abington.
Accept.
Avon.
Accept.
Bridgewater.
Accept.
Brockton.
Accept.
We have our delegate from Duxbury.
Yes, hello, accept.
Thank you, Allison. East Bridgewater.
Accept.
Easton.
Accept.
Hanover.
Accept.
Hanson. Kingston.
Accept.
Pembroke.
Accept.
Plimpton.
Accept.
Stoughton.
Accept.
West Bridgewater. And Whitman.
Accept.
That's unanimous.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Steve, for reading the motion. I appreciate it.
And thank you, David, for bringing this to our attention. I had no idea 50 years of really good work. So thank you.
Thanks, Becky.
So David, the next item up is the Title III or ARPA Title III grantee changes.
Right. So I had asked that this be put in, and I want to preface this by saying that usually by this point, before the beginning of a new federal fiscal year, we're pretty much all set in terms of who our grantees are, because we start the process in the spring of asking for applications. And then we examine the applications, and then by May or the latest June, we're getting acceptance of the applications and deciding whether we can fund it or not, based on funding from the Older Americans Act, mainly from Title C. And so this council has already approved the applications that were listed in the staff report, for the approximately 16 organizations, and 16 including ourselves and including Old Colony Elder Services. But you know, as with anything else, it's things can change, and in this case, there was a council on aging that was actually looking for some funding, and then there was another council on aging that decided coincidentally to withdraw their request for funding. And so the funding amounts, believe it or not, matched up. And we're a day or two in advance, but on Friday morning, John and I are going to have a meeting with in Avon with the Council on Aging Director, and we believe we're going to be adding the Avon Council on Aging to our list of Title III grantees in support, about $3,000 annually, at least initially, in support of their Meals on Wheels drivers and providing a mileage reimbursement. And the only thing that's unusual about this, because the council members are probably familiar with the fact that we have a volunteer transportation program. The only thing that's different about this is that the volunteer transportation program is through a grant from MassDOT, and they specifically require that in order to be part of the reimbursement process, the organizations have to be transporting people. So Meals on Wheels was kind of an exception to that, and that MassDOT will not finance. And most of the other councils on aging have already have a mileage reimbursement agreement with Old Colony Elder Services. My understanding is that Old Colony Elder Services spends well over $100,000 on mileage reimbursements for Meals on Wheels drivers, and I think it was a timing issue, but Avon was not included amongst that group, and they grandfathered the other councils on aging in. So what we're doing here with this Title III funding is, I'm sorry if it's a little long-winded, but we're kind of filling a gap that Avon fell into a gap, and we're trying to fill in that gap with Title III funding. And we are going to.
Great. Do we need a vote on that, or that's something that you can do without the council?
The total amount of funding has already been voted on by the council. If the council members wish to approve Avon, but I would assume the council members, we have six or seven or eight councils on aging that are already grantees. So I would think that all council on aging would be approved grantees.
Okay.
In that sense. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Thank you for asking.
All right, thanks, David. Thank you for handling that and filling a gap, because that's what, Old Colony Planning Council is able, when we look at our budget, that's our budget, but sometimes there's also money, like on the transportation side, where we are helping to facilitate, even if that's not money that's being routed through our organization. So the Title III money is one of those areas where we're actually funneling the grants to specific needs in our region. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Sandy right now is going to talk about September being Suicide Prevention Month.
Thank you very much, Madam President. As you all know, the suicide prevention is very near and dear to my heart, mostly because of when I'm out in the communities and I'm dealing and working with a lot of people, and also my past being, firefighter and paramedic on the Halifax Fire Department. I saw a lot of it, and it's been coming, it's been in process for many, many years, and people have been committing suicide for decades. We're seeing more and more, not only in the age of 15 to 25, but we're now recognizing that most accidents or vehicle accidents are not necessarily accidents, but they are committing suicide. And so it wouldn't leave the families behind to think that they committed suicide, that it was an accident. We're seeing a lot more of it also with the elderly being left alone and lonely, no families around to help them or be with them. I always try to tell them to keep in mind that if you look at a football stadium and having it full, that's how many people commit suicide throughout the country. And there are a lot of different indications that these people have. We're just not recognizing them. You know, sometimes you think they just had a bad day when in fact, you know, they are, reaching out and asking for help. I encourage every person not to be afraid. I tell all of my students or people that I'm with, do not be afraid. If you think somebody's in danger of committing suicide, ask them right out, are you going to commit suicide? Are you going to hurt yourself? Because that's what they want, is they want somebody to recognize it and to maybe be able to talk to them about it. A lot of school kids, it's every year it's climbing and climbing all the time. So I do thank everybody for supporting me in this, and I just hope that we can help the world and help them to realize that, you know, there is hope. And that's the thing is, you know, most people lose hope, and that's what makes them take their life. Thank you. Thank you. Do I need to read this?
If you would like to, otherwise I can, whichever way makes it easy for you.
Yeah, I don't care. I can read it.
Perfect.
Okay. Okay, National Suicide Prevention Month proclamation, September 2023, Old Colony Planning Council. Whereas suicide is the 10th leading cause of all deaths in the U.S. and the second leading cause of death among individuals between ages of 15 and 24. Whereas in the U.S., one person completes suicide every 14 minutes. Whereas it is estimated that 5 million people in the U.S. are survivors of suicide loss. Whereas an increase in the overall suicide rate in the country was seen in 2019, representing a change in the recent pattern of stability or slight declines. Whereas suicide is a community problem, and thus there must be a community response through various initiatives to reduce suicide behaviors. Whereas the Plymouth Suicide Prevention Coalition, which is dedicated to reducing the frequency of suicide attempts and deaths through education, awareness, and action, urge that we, as a community, recognize suicide as a national, state, regional, and local public health problem and declare suicide prevention to be an Old Colony Planning Council priority, and encourage local initiatives based on goals contained in the National Strategy for Suicide Prevention. Therefore, it be resolved that we, the Old Colony Planning Council, to hereby designate September as National Suicide Prevention Month in OCPC region. Thank you.
Wow.
Do we have a motion to accept this proclamation
So
and
moved.
designate September as the National Suicide Prevention Month? I'm
So
sorry,
moved.
who's so moved?
Preston, it's Preston.
Okay, thank you, Preston. Do we have a second?
I'll second. Jean Marie.
Thank you, Jean Marie. Okay, Mary, could we take a roll call vote?
I was muted. My apologies. I was muted. Abington,
Accept.
Avon,
Accept.
Bridgewater,
Accept.
Brockton,
Accept.
Duxbury.
Accept.
I believe John Hayes sent a note that he left East Bridgewater.
Yes.
Thank you. Easton,
Accept.
Hanover,
Accept.
Hanson,
Accept.
Kingston,
Accept.
Pembroke.
I
Plymouth,
was muted, accept.
thank you.
Accept.
Thank you. Stoughton,
Except,
West Bridgewater,
Yeah.
and Whitman. That's unanimous.
Alden accepts.
Thank you.
Thank you all, and thank you again, Sandra. An important topic for us to recognize and bring to the fore of the attention in the region.
That's it.
you know, it's important. Okay, so now we're going to talk about OCPC committee appointments. We do have some appointments. We have appointment of the personnel chair of Stephen Santasonio, the bylaw chair, Lee Hartman, the nominating committee, Frank Staffier, and the legislative committee co-chairs, Rhonda Nyman and Noreen O'Toole. If anybody is interested in helping on these committees, they do important work for our organization, and we really could use volunteers to step up and join these committees. So just let Mary know what interests you the most to get involved in. Mary, do you have anything to add on committee appointments?
No, other than obviously the treasurer serves as the chair of the finance committee and you serve as chair of the executive committee. Those were sort of a natural, but I will be reaching out. I did have a conversation briefly with Yolanda about serving for the diversity, equity, inclusion committee that we have formed as well. He just was a little uncertain as to his time commitment. So the idea is really, we try to do as much work on the staff side to make your jobs easier, but to have those discussion before a council meeting helps vet out where our direction and where our mission is going to be.
Appreciate that. I have to say, as someone who served on finance and on the executive committee, you do a great job of making it easy to volunteer with the organization. So thank you. And with that, we have completed our agenda. Are there any items that someone wants to bring up for a future meeting? If you have any ideas of topics that you'd like to see covered with the delegates, please bring it to Mary Waldron or to me, and we can get it on a future agenda. Again, don't forget December 7th. Put that on your calendar now for the OCPC Summit. It's a really important night for our organization. So please make sure that you have it on your calendar. More information will be coming out on the OCPC Summit. And with that, do we have a motion?
Madam President, just before you go, because I just want for some of the new members as well as existing members. So the calendar on the agenda always will say when our next meeting is. So because we are running out of running room, right? So we'll have an October finance, there'll be a personnel committee as well, but a finance, so October 24th and 25th, finance, and then we will not have a council meeting in November. So because it runs into the holidays, Thanksgiving holiday. So we will, if there are items that we need to have action items, we will call an executive committee to take those items up. Otherwise, it is the summit that, so we really have a short couple months of activities, and we'll keep all council members apprised.
And then we start back up with a little more regularity in January.
That is
but
correct.
Again, please, if there are any questions on the documents that come your way, on what we do, on what you can be involved in, on what you have questions about, please let us know. In October, we're going to start to look at the audit. We're actually doing, Brenda's been working with our new auditors, and we're a little ahead of schedule on that. So we'll start to talk about the audit in October on the Finance Committee. So if you have interest in that and where we are financially, you want to tune into that. And with that, do we have a motion to adjourn at 7:03?
Motion so moved.
Second.
All in favor? I think we can just do this with a show of hands. And again, thank you, Lila, for your service, and everyone have a good month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.